Nature of services. There are 5 basic features of services. Let us study about them. Intangibility. Services are intangible, that is, they cannot be touched. They are experiential in nature. One cannot taste a doctor's treatment or touch entertainment. One can only experience it. It is therefore important for the service providers that they consciously work on creating a desired service so that the customer undergoes a favorable experience. For example, treatment by a doctor should be a favorable experience. Inconsistency. The second important characteristic of services is inconsistency. Since there is no standard tangible product, services have to be performed exclusively each time. Different customers have different demands and expectations. Service providers need to have an opportunity to alter their offer to closely meet the requirements of the customers. Inseparability. Another important characteristic of services is the simultaneous activity of production and consumption being performed. This makes the production and consumption of services seem to be inseparable. Inventory. Less. Services have little or no tangible components and therefore cannot be stored for a future use. That is, services are perishable and providers can, at best, store some associated goods but not the service itself. This means that the demand and supply needs to be managed as the service has to be performed as and when the customer asks for it. They cannot be performed earlier to be consumed at a later date. For example, a railway ticket can be stored, but the railway journey will be experienced only when the railways provide it. Involvement. One of the most important characteristics of services is the participation of the customer in the service delivery process. A customer has the opportunity to get the services modified according to specific requirements. Let us now study about different types of services. When speaking of the service sector, services can be classified into 3 broad categories. That is, business services, social services, and personal services. Let us further study about them. 1. Business services. Business services are those services which are used by business enterprises for the conduct of their activities. For example, banking, insurance, transportation, and communication services. 2. Social services. Social services are those services that are generally provided voluntarily in pursuit of certain social goals. These social goals may be to improve the standard of living for weaker sections of society, to provide educational services to their children, or to provide health care and hygienic conditions in slum areas. These services are usually provided voluntarily but for some consideration to cover their costs. For example, health care and education services provided by certain non-government organizations, NGOs, and government agencies. 3. Personal services. Personal services are those services which are experienced differently by different customers. These services cannot be consistent in nature. They will differ depending upon the service provider. They will also depend upon the customer's preferences and demands. For example, tourism, recreational services, restaurants.